Join us for the Iron Man Empowerment Podcast, where we discuss matters close to the heart. This and every Saturday at 8 a.m. until 9:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on HGG Radio. I am your host, Dr. Lincoln Bryan, alongside your co-host, Pastor Clive Atkinson, Bishop Hopeton Morris, and Elder Edmund Muir. The Iron Man Empowerment Podcast. We're not just talk, we're informative.
What a mighty God we serve. And then I look up to the hills, I lift my eyes to the Maker. What a mighty God we serve. What a mighty God we serve.
HGG Radio.
The way to go, you meet my needs, you answer me, and now I stand in victory. What a mighty God, what a mighty God we serve. What a mighty God, what a mighty God we serve. Oh, 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 when I wake up in the morning and I see the lightning flash, what a mighty God we serve. What a mighty God we serve. And in the middle of the storm, I hear the thunder roar. Oh, what a mighty God we serve. What a mighty God we serve. You fill me up when I am low. You show me the way to go. You meet my needs. You answer me. And now I stand in victory. What a mighty God. Hey, what a mighty God. Oh, what a mighty God. What a mighty God. What a mighty God. What a mighty God. What a mighty God.
HGG Radio.
Let the music play. And with his might, he still loves. Nobody loves like you. Yeah. Nobody loves like you. Yeah. Nobody loves like you. Nobody loves like you.
fills you up when you are low. What a God we serve on this morning. I want to thank you for joining us right here at the Iron Man Empowerment Podcast. My name is Pastor Clive, and of course, our OC. Give him a few minutes. He's coming. But with us this morning, we have, of course, our co-host is Bishop. You are not in your space. You look like you party all night last night.
Yes, sir. I was on another party at Bishop's 60th birthday.
You look like
A lot of dancing.
you have a hangover from the dancing. So our host is still hungover again as well. So he's coming in. Just good morning, good morning. We're just going to start until Dr. Bryan gets on. He's coming. Just give him a minute. All right. So go ahead, Bishop. How was your time last night? And good morning, Elder Muir.
Good morning, Pastor Clive. Good morning, Bishop.
Amen. Good morning, Elder Beer. Good morning, Pastor Clive. We had a fantabulous time last night. It was really a high time. Celebrating with our bishop, the mother God, and I mean, it was fun. We have Marva Providence was there, and she bring the show down, and I mean, it was fun. The fellowship, the food, the presence of the Lord, and you can't help but just dance and move, and and the people got dressed to impress, and in the all black affair. So it was really, really a wonderful evening, and we can see that Bishop did have a wonderful time. His kids did an all, and his family, kids and the rest of the family did an awesome job in putting on that birthday party for him. So we have fun. We have fun. I still feel like I need to go back to bed, but but we have fun.
That's
So
good.
here am I in I'm in Mississauga. Yeah.
That's good.
That's
That's
it.
good. That's good. That's good. That we're so far away. It's not like we're stone throw away. You can just
I know.
up on a flight and up and going. Yeah. Plus, there's so much stuff happening. But I call him yesterday and wish him a happy birthday. 60. He says that he's stepping over into senior citizen.
Yeah, it's in pension territory now.
Yeah, man. We'll just give God thanks for him, right? And
Amen.
God will continue to keep him and to continue to direct him and to guide him and to just good health and everything. And we just pray the blessing of God over his life. Because
Amen.
there's much more work to be done. And as we are talking this morning about what the church or what pastors are looking for in young men, and we're looking at, as we are getting older, I want to say we we are definitely looking for young people that's
Yes.
be able to come in and not just for the limelight, but is to position themselves as much as possible to be able to take on the baton. We don't want to be in a generation where it's just a Joshua generation. What we want to be in a Moses generation where we hand off properly as we would have learned in the past and seen how or some of our successor would have dropped the button and the church becomes a problem. But anyways, when our hosts come, we're going to dive deeper into it. But we thank God for our bishop, a man of integrity. And I tell somebody that I'm not so easy to be led. What I mean by that, I don't get trouble. But when I stick around and I watch and I stick around, he's a man of integrity. And we just love him so much. We give God thanks for him. Elamiar, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Pastor Clive. Morning.
You're probably wondering, we have not spoken pretty much all week. And
That's true.
usually we touch base, but here we are, the Higher Man Empowerment Podcast. You can't say I didn't say anything to you before tomorrow.
I know. It's rather busy during the course of the week, and so yeah, these things do happen.
Yeah,
Right? And
this job I'm doing, I have to send it out today. Actually, yesterday we were supposed to start packing to send out to British Columbia, and we when the guys reached 4:30 or so, they were so tired. I says, you know what, just go, just go, just go, because I know what it means to be tired and want to go home. So they left, and of course, I never leave there until late last night. So I came home rather late. When I came home, you must know Sister Melly was already in bed. I think I never get into bed till after 1. So, and then I couldn't sleep. But here we are. And,
Yeah. When
you know,
you're too tired, you can't sleep.
yeah, my mind was just keep going. There's so much happening. And, I did 3 huge job back to back. And of course, I have that dealing with, and I have our building dealing with. There's a lot going on. So, but he said he will. Young man, I call upon you because you're strong, and that's what I'm surviving on.
you see, Bishop, Pastor Clive is able, because what he has the right mindset for the business, so he's able to accomplish so much. I don't know how he does it, how it's done. I don't know, but it's something that only him can tell us how he does it. The mindset is very important as we're looking at mindset this morning, whether in business or in ministry, or even mindset as a husband, Pastor Clive,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
It's very important, and I see you have the right mindset, and so even thinking about our bishop, Dyson Diocesan Bishop. I I know his mindset is all about kingdom building, and as a result of that, we are seeing where he's taking the PAW places, and of course, he's a very dynamic leader. And I saw Sister Sonia. Yeah, she's in the chat already, and she says lots of fun at the party. Yes. So, Bishop, you cannot hide it, even if you wanted to.
Yes, sir. Apostolic people know to have party. Now they said there's no party like a Holy Ghost party.
right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's good, man. That's good. That's good. That's good. So yeah, it's a mindset. When I came to Canada in '98, and I started. You have to have a mindset in everything that you do. You have to have a make up mind. You can't quit. And I was telling somebody, they came
Mm,
to me on yesterday and they were asking me about business, and they said, "Man, they have tried." This young man, he said to me that he tried so much time and failed, and he just couldn't keep going on. And I asked him. He said to me, he wanted. He's in his 60s now, and he said to me that he wanted to do this and he wanted to do that. And then he said to me that he did his real estate license and he failed, and he says that I didn't get it. So I wait for him to finish talking, Bishop, and I asked him, how much time did you write the exam and fail? He said, one time. I says, and I said to him, I says, and you would want me to hire you in my company? I said, I wouldn't hire you because you're going to fail after the first try. I said, I have failed so many times, came to bankruptcy so many times, wanted to give up so many times. Trust me, what you see now is because of whatever stuff that I passed through. You have to learn to be able to hold on and push in spite of, and have a mindset. And the mindset is going to help you. Same thing with ministry. You have to have a made up mind, and you have to have the right character. Go ahead, Elder. Just go with the show until Dr. Bryan comes. He's on his way. We're
I know
talking.
he's on his way. He's on his way. But you see, when you have things lingering from overnight, it's not so easy. But we're giving God thanks in everything. You're on the Ironman Empowerment podcast. We're here waiting on Dr. Bryan, which is on his way. His mindset is to be here, so I know he'll be here very soon. And I'm playing with that word this morning, the mindset. because with the mindset, there are certain values and attitudes that you need to have as an individual, especially when you're in the capacity of a leader. As Pastor Clive just said just now, Bishop, he said that you have to fail at times. That's a part of the mindset, knowing that failure is not the end. Failure doesn't mean that you're not a success. And I like to put two words together, war and battle, because a battle is different from a war. The war is the ultimate, the battle is just within the war. And so we have to recognize that a solid mindset is essential throughout life. And if you're in a battle, there are some battles that you may lose and others that you will win. But ultimately, you're destined for success. And where ministry is concerned, I believe there's a lot of elements and factors to look at, especially as it has to do with integrity, character, values, and attitudes. There's so many things to look on. And I know Dr. Bryan will sort of zoom in some more on these. But as we think about all these, Bishop, I believe what would be your opening thoughts on this topic this morning as we await our host?
Thank you for that question. Good morning, everyone. The get that I'm using, I can't see the those who are online and their comments. I would love to read their comments, but I know your guys are there. So good morning, everyone, and God bless you. And Daria said, just
Let,
remember to like and to
let,
share.
let me put, can you see them now, Bishop? I put up.
Okay, yes, I can now as you run them across
All right.
the
All
screen.
right.
All right, thank you very much. To understand the mindset that is needed for ministry, you have to go in the book of Acts because that is where it all began. You know, what was the mindset of the apostles? And the book of Acts is full of so much nuggets and very important information that is needed. In fact, what was the first thing that we see here is boldness. You know, when Peter, you know, the Pharisees basically tell him, man, look, man, you know, don't preach anything in this name, and so on. The Bible said the thing that they observed about them, was their boldness. They observed they never have much education, right? So they observed that, right? That the education was not there, but they observed that they were bold, right? To the point where Peter said, look, man, is it better to obey man than God,
That's right.
right? If you're gonna be a minister in this gospel, right, you are going to need boldness. Right, very, very important. You're gonna need boldness. I heard I think it was Bishop Farrer was saying something which was so important. And one of the things that he said, and then I shut up, I give somebody else another chance to talk, because this is so full of so much stuff, so much things I have to say concerning this subject today. Is that God say, the Lord speak to Joshua, I think it was either three times. Be strong and very courageous, right? Because there are some things that you have to be strong in order for you to do. You have to be strong in your mindset,
Yes.
okay? Right? That it doesn't matter what you're going to do it. And that's what we hear from Pastor Clive. I was talking about the young man was so easy to quit. You have to be strong and you have to be courageous. Right, and so to be courageous, he was saying, is that it's not for you to continue doing what you used to do, because you don't need courage to what you used to do. You need courage in order to do something that you never done before, that the Lord has put in your spirit, and you need courage to do it irrespective of the opposition that that you will be facing. Right? So you need courage, right? So you need boldness, right? And you need courage to do something that you have never done before. Because sometimes I think a couple weeks ago it talks about on this program about vision and so on, right? You need courage in order to do vision, because people used to things done a particular way, right? And if you ever change that and try to do something, right, you will have issues. I give you one story. You know, my grandmother, when my grandmother were growing up, she lived in the country part, and for growing up as a little boy for years, they never have electricity. Never have electricity. Right? And years, maybe 70 years down the line now, JPS want to run some wire and stuff like that and put up some pole, and they want to put electricity in the house. She can't stay by herself anymore. She's now elderly. And she said, I don't want this thing in my house. Right? Because she have never used the electricity. Right? And she kick up her rumpus, so to speak, right? Because she's like, no, I don't want electricity in my house because she have not used to it, right? And some of it tell her, I said, look, man, if you don't get this inside your way and staying with you, right? And that's when she cave, and that's when she cave in. People don't like change, whether it's for the better or for the worse. A lot of people do not like change, and change takes courage, right? So for a mindset to ministry, you need courage, and a whole lot of courage in order to do something new. God bless you.
Be strong and courageous. You need courage. And so I see the man with a lot of courage. He's on screen. Our host, Dr. Lincoln Bryan. Welcome, sir.
Good morning, men of God. Good morning, Elder Muir. Thank you so much, Pastor Clive. God bless you, Bishop. Good to see you. Bless you. Bless you. Amen. Amen. I'm telling you, I'm getting that welcome. Thank
Yes,
you so much for that.
sir.
Thank you so much for that. As y'all know, I was away on last week, and I'm back. And this week, a bit later than normal. Last night was Bishop Smith's 60th birthday, and I'm telling you, we had a great time there for Bishop Banton Smith at Kingdom Life Ministries. Turned 60 last night, and I'm telling you, we have a blast. He had been planning this for over a year and a half, or a 2-year invitation. He said, listen, I want all my friends to be here and to celebrate with me. So I'm telling you, between that and coming back from Europe has been the timing on me. But I'm telling you, I'm good. I'm back this morning. So let me say good morning to all our listeners, and thank you so much. I miss you all on yesterday, to our very our worthy co-host. God bless you all. And I'm so glad to be here. Of course, I hear Ella Muir leading out the program, and Bishop chiming in, and Pastor Clive, as we are talking about the ministry mindset. We're talking about the ministry mindset, and as we explore the essential attitudes and value that is required for effective leadership. One of the things that we want to look at and explore as we have started to talk on the topic is oftentimes a lot of persons want to be a part of ministry, Bishop, and I wanted to kickstart this series among ourselves as we are going to be looking deeper on this for the month of November. We look at effective ministry leadership. It's not about skill and knowledge. It's about cultivating a mindset that embodies the heart of Christ. As church leaders, we are called to serve, equip, and inspire others, but it requires more than just technical expertise. It demands a deep understanding of ourselves, our faith, and the role in God's kingdom. And of course, in this episode, as we talk about the effective leadership mindset, we want to look more deeply into the critical qualities, characteristics, and values that distinguish exceptional ministry leaders from other churches, or from others, rather. We'll talk about, or we'll look at the importance of humility and servanthood, and the role of empathy and compassion in leadership, the need for integrity, authenticity, and transparency, the value of resilience, adaptability, and perseverance. We look at the centrality of prayer, reflection, and spiritual growth. And so this conversation this morning is not just for those who are seasoned pastor, but for those who inspire to lead, for those who are church planters or emerging leaders. This conversation will challenge you and inspire you to cultivate a ministry mindset that honor God and empower others. So, Bishop, as you have started the conversation, and I want to go right there, as Colossians 3:12 said, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly beloved, clothe yourself with compassion and with kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. When we look at the ministry mindset, and oftentimes persons want to come into ministry and they want to be trusted, Bishop. They want to be trusted, Pastor Clive, Elder. They want to be trusted. And they're saying, Pastor, don't give me an opportunity to do this or to do that. But it came to my thought, and I'm saying, what is it that leaders are looking for? Bishop, Pastor Clive, as those who are in the capacity of pastors and bishop, what is it that leaders are looking for from emerging leaders that they are not seeing, that they are not comfortable to really release emerging leaders into positions? And I want to hear that from our own panelists here as we really talk about it. And I know Bishop was just talking, but I want to piggyback by asking you, Bishop. I want to come back there and start right here. That what are what are some of the qualities? What are some of the attitude? Talk to us about some of the attitude that, as a bishop, as a pastor, that you are looking for in emerging leaders, that you believe this man or this woman possess A, B, C, and D, and this is what we're looking for in order for me to say, yes, you are ready for me to even to start to mentor you into that direction of being an effective leader. What are some of the qualities, you say, Bishop, and attitude and behavior that we should explore, or we should be looking for?
Thank you very much. I would say number one, humility.
Yes.
Right. You cannot go far in this ministry without humility. If you don't know to humble yourself, right? If you give you opportunity to preach one day, and by the next week, you're gonna pack your bag and and print your business cards and all those kind of stuff, and ordain yourself as a preacher. I mean, right? It's not gonna work. So humility is number one. Number two, do what you're asked. Right? Do what you are asked to do. Right? Most pastors don't like surprises. Right? So we ask you to do A, do A, don't go over into B. Okay? Right? Because we are making sure that we can give you something to do, and you will do it right and do it at point.
Sorry,
Right?
Bishop. Sorry to
Yes.
interrupt. But when you mention A and B, can you be specific as to some tasks that you might be referring to?
Right. Okay, sure. Leave the pastor job to the pastor. Right? Right. If we ask you to do the and control the let's say youth ministry, okay, right? Don't you try to ball, you know what? You're gonna try to control the men ministry also, right? Right. Do what you're asked to do. Stay within your limit, right? Because stay under the covering that your leader give you, right? Stay under that leadership. You remember with Joseph, right? The father sent him to one place. I think it was Shechem, right? To go meet his brothers, right? And that's where his father sent him. But and he left and he go Dothan,
Mm.
Right? It was at that time that his brothers could have harmed him. But if he should have come back and said, for daddy, they're not there. So he was no longer under a covering. Okay, right? So very important. Do what you are asked to do, right? Follow exactly what you're asked to do, right? And number three, be trustworthy. We must be able to trust you. Okay, right? You cannot be, um, doing stuff and because you do it so good, you believe that you are better than the leader and talking behind the leader back.
Wow.
Me, I can do this better than my pastor. I can do
Mhm.
it better. I don't know why don't give it to me all the time to do. I don't know why he give that one, ask that one to do it when I am better at it. If we can trust you, we can use you.
Mm. All right now.
Wow.
Okay, right? So we must be able to trust you with something, right? So if we trust you, we'll be able to use you, and then we will be able to give you other things and other assignment, right? Because many pastors looking for representatives sometimes, I'm not going to be able to go to this service, but I want you to go to represent me. Okay, right? So we must be able to trust you, right? So those are three essential stuff that I'm going to stop there at this time. But integrity will definitely comes up. Be yourself, right? Be yourself. Let me say that again. Be yourself. Ever heard that before? Yeah, be yourself. Right? We
Yes.
don't ask you to minister, and if I study you sound like Jakes.
All right now.
And we know that's not you. And the worst thing is that everybody know because the same YouTube video you watch,
Same
right,
one we
is the
watch.
same YouTube video everybody else watch, right? Right. So be yourself. God bless you, sir. I stop there for now.
That is really powerful, Bishop. Thank you so much for that. Being yourself. One person said, if we call you, we are not expecting Noel to show up. We're expecting you to show up. So
Mhm.
so be yourself and not trying to, as Bishop said, be anybody else, sound like anybody else, but do ministry on your own term and be who God called you to be. And that is very, very important. That's very important. There are some great points you mentioned there, Bishop, is that we must learn how to play within the role that we're given. Stay within the role. Pastor Clive, I'm coming to you on the same question, sir. Well, what are you looking for in your ministry? Because I heard pastors complaining about even punctuality, where people show up like they are superstars. They show up at the end of the service, at the mid of the service, and they expect to just walk in and waltz through and so forth. And I think that kind of attitude and behavior, when we put persons in ministry, it transcends and it moved to the place where when they become ministers, traveling ministers, they show up at people church just when it's about their time to preach. I can't stand seeing that happening. Talk to me, Pastor Clive, on that same in that same vein. What are you looking for within emerging leaders?
I couldn't say much better than Bishop. I guess we all having the same kind of mindset, as I'm not in my 60s, I'm not in my 70s, I'm still a young man, and but it's because of how I was brought up. When I just got saved, my pastor, my bishops, they didn't really tell me that I was in training for nothing, but I know that the hand of God was upon my life, and I stay within my area, my boundary. I did what I was asked to do. I never flare up, and I never got into a pastor office one day because of my attitude or any behavior. And I've been in church for 31 years, 30 over 30 years. And I've never gone into any pastor, and I only had like two, three pastors because of migration from one country to the other. So I've never gone into my pastor's office or my pastor's office because of any problem that I have done. And I'm looking at the same trend where, as a pastor, what I am looking for, I'm looking for persons, we're looking for man that will have, integrity and be able to be able to have that stick with it mentality, and not to come pretend and to try to take over and show up late and create problem for others, or if others are doing something, you think that you can do it better, and by you doing so, you will discredit the person who have a drive to do something but don't have the knowledge. And by doing that, now you find yourself, and then too, sometime you have to just, but let me just say it like this, is that we just have to make sure that we align ourselves for what God is doing in our life.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because you don't know what God have plans for. And every pastor is always looking. I can't speak for Bishop. Let me say for me. We always looking, we always want to make sure that somebody is in line. We're not here to stay forever. And that's just my mentality. That's as much as we're planning for the future, we're planning for 20 years, 30 years, but we're also planning on grooming. We're also planning on pruning and grooming. But first, you have to observe somebody for years, because you can't groom somebody that you don't observe.
Mhm.
You don't know what to trim. If a blind man cannot prune a tree, so you have to see the tree in its fullness. Then you start to clip and clip and clip and clip. But then some persons are not very, they think they arrive and they reach, and they don't need no clipping and pruning. But you know what I mean? Some attitude need to be pruned. Some behavior need to be clipped. And if and if for you to move forward, you have to listen. I don't care how educated you are. It's not about your education. I'll tell you that right now. Because I see Jesus take 12 dummies and work with them. The Bible said that they said that, these are unlearned and ignorant men. So I'm not talking about it, and I'm not bashing education. It's good to have it. But your character speak volume, and to be able to take instruction. Because if you can't take instruction, I'm telling you, and it becomes now a relationship that we will develop, and watching the person. And the moment your pastor can't trust you, trust me, a problem. And then now we're not fighting for pulpit either. We don't want person we ever fight for the pulpit and figure more or less like Elamro can't do it. So then let me do it almost every other week. The pulpit, I'm not, when I give you an opportunity to share my pulpit with you, I'm giving you that opportunity. Don't forget the pulpit belongs to the pastor. You know what I mean? But some pastors like myself are not pulpit hungry, right? So you get an opportunity. When you get that opportunity, do exactly what. And then, we don't want person to just show up when they're alone, when they're ready to preach.
Mhm.
And I know I'm going to preach next week. I come this week. Then I come the week when I'm going to preach. And I come 2 weeks after that. No, we're watching, because I said to Elder Muir, I says, like for me, I want to give ministry 100%. I'm not full time, but I'm working my way up into it to be able to be full time, so I can be more effective. My job is so in the meantime, in the interim, looking for young men, looking for a young woman that have that burning desire. And you can't want to be put into spotlight and never come a prayer meeting. The direction where we're going, we're getting very serious where the ministry is concerned, to be able to have discipline. We want to look at persons with discipline, self-discipline, be able to can be called upon, and said, okay, son, such and such and such. So those are some of the few things that we're looking for in a young man. And I believe that Moses did the same thing. Watch Joshua. Watch them.
Yes.
Put his eyes on them. You know what I mean? He didn't just get up one morning and says, "Hey, Joshua, come, go spy out the land." No. Joshua, the Bible says, it was his minister, meaning that he was serving. He was serving. That's what that means. He was not just, he doesn't get up, he didn't just get up and says, "Oh, Joshua, you know what? I feel like you're the best person to go on. No, man, I can trust you with this task. So I want you to go and do something for me." I think that's
Yes.
pretty much what we're looking for.
Thank you so much, Pastor Clive. And you said it right. To make sure that folks are showing up on time and showing up to get the job done. Because and one of the reason why we're having this conversation, if you're just joining us, is because oftentimes we are talking and last week, or let me say 2 weeks ago, we start to talk about succession planning and transitioning and changing the guard. Yeah. We mentioned that, Bishop and Pastor Clive. And but when I start to even consider a little bit, and I'm thinking, all right, yes, the guards are changing, and yes, succession planning. And I said, why then are leaders holding on to the reign and holding on to the baton? So oftentimes we're saying, yes, man, they should transition, they should move it on and so forth. But then there's always two sides to it. And so that's why we're dealing with this side, which, yes, sometimes they want to pass it on, Elder Muir. But then, two, they're not seeing persons with the right attitude and the right behavior and the right mindset that they believe this person can come and stand on my shoulder and see further and take it to the next level, rather than coming to see what is in it for me. And I want to prove that I am better, and I want to prove that I am greater, rather than looking at it holistically for the advancement of the kingdom. And you get the church with 50 people. Can this man take the church and maintain it and grow the church, that more persons be added to Christ? We're paying mortgage, and so as a result, he can take it and maybe build the church and extend the church. So I believe also pastors are looking for this kind of vision and this servant leadership, the heart of a servant, the heart to be a servant leader. And being a servant leader is different. Not everybody are called to be pastors. Some are called to be evangelists. I see great persons who I believe are men of God, are great evangelists, and they're pastoring. And it is creating some, they're doing their thing, but I believe that they would be more effective being an evangelist, who they can go out, because their testimony, their life, what they've gone through can pull people in, and have a pastor pastoring them, because they don't have that heart to really pastor, that finesse. Because to be a pastor takes a different level, that heart for the job, that heart for people, that love for people, and so it is important then. And I'm saying pastors are looking for this kind of values and behavior in order to move leaders, or to select persons to move to the next level, and not only in pastor but also in department and department head. Because if you cannot work in a department and serve with those in the department and still be
That's
fine
right.
with it, then how can we
That's
trust you to
right.
be the head when you cannot work with somebody in the capacity of follow and support? That I am able to work, Bishop, in the men department and support the men president without being the leader. That's what a servant leader is. The ability to lead while serving, and the ability is to follow a leader. That's servant leadership. So it don't necessarily mean that I have to be the head of it. It don't mean that it has to be my ideas. And if it's not my way, it's no way. And if it's not my way, I'm not being a part of it. Then we can't trust you, because you don't have the ability to sit under someone and serve. You don't have the ability to be the armor bearer. You always want to be
Can you say that again, Dr. Bryan? I need to hear it clearly.
that we can't trust you to lead. We can't trust you to lead if you are not able, and I hope I'm saying it right, to be in a capacity where you follow. We can't trust you if you always want to be the main man but can never be the armor bearer. Because it's important, Bishop, that when it's your time, I can serve you. I can serve you when it's your time. It don't mean that because I'm a preacher and I'm this and that, I can't serve. No, I can serve, Bishop, because it's not my moment. It's Bishop, and I need to know when to decrease, because it's his time. What I mean? It's that other minister's time. I need to know how to decrease, and I can serve that person. and it don't take anything from me. It don't take anything from me to serve. So you don't look at your capacity about being a pastor or a leader. Last night for our bishop's function, for example, my task was to serve Marvia Providence. My task was to pick her up and to take her home and to serve her. You're there, whatever you want. I said, where's your shoes? Where's your coat? Where's it? This? I signal me, I want to change my shoes. I get her flats, pick it up. It don't matter, and it don't take away from me being a preacher and a minister. My task, my assignment there was to provide service to this person who is a minister for the night in whatever capacity. Make her comfortable, make her happy. See to it that she get picked up and that she go home and then she walk into her house. See to it, and that is the task. And
Can I jump in? Can I jump in there, Doc?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because many times we fail to understand what true service is all about. It's not about your title, right? When we come to Christ, it's not about title. It's about the call of God on our lives. And there's a concept that I want to bring about, because I've been a teacher for a very long time, right? And there's some things that I came to recognize. The person that you're teaching today, tomorrow will be or can be your leader. And many times persons don't know. If I interact with you on any level, I don't know what the future have in store. So what I'm essentially doing is trying to prepare you to be the leader. And sometimes persons do not understand this concept. And that is why when you ask persons to do things, they resent. And they don't know that that's not a character of God. And they want to be better. They want to be bigger. They talk, who can do this? Who cannot do this? And all these things. But one thing I keep hearing coming out in this conversation is attitude. Attitude, extremely important, because the attitude will shape your behavior. So if your attitude is right, you don't yet have the knowledge, you don't yet have the know-how, and your attitude is right. That is your ticket right there. Right. Because you can, through prayer and mentoring, you as an individual, you can be the next leader that will take over. I will think about Pastor Clive and myself. We're not too far in age, right? And I'm thinking that what we need, as Pastor Clive might have mentioned, is young people, is people that have the attitude and the moral basis in order to take over, right? So attitude is very important. It's like a compass that will lead you. So even in decisions, you don't have to think about what decision will this person make, because you know that attitude. You know the attitude, and because of the attitude of that individual, you know they will take the right decision, or what they would perceive as being right at the time. Thank you so much.
Powerful. Lady, I'll come to you. Lady McClyman said, I tell my student all the time, she does a lecture in the college. She said, I tell my student all the time that their attitude is their altitude. Yes. So it's their attitude that's going to take them higher. Pastor, it was Bishop that was coming in, Bishop?
I think that was Pastor
Clive. Or was it Pastor Clive? Pastor Clive?
Pastor Clive. What I'm saying is that, it's humility, man. You know that you have the potential. Nobody can teach you how to have attitude and how your behavior should be. And the Holy Ghost is you have to go into prayer and fasting and say, Lord, I realize that, I have this type of tendency, me too much, me enough, and I'm not humble. You think persons don't know that enough? And they have a bad attitude. They know so them enough and them have a bad attitude.
Will they admit it though?
Right? And listen to me, and if there's deficiency, I will examine. The Bible says, let a man examine himself. We have to learn to examine self. And I'm telling you, there's no way for you to be in prayer, consecration, and God don't work on that attitude. There's no way for us to be in consecration and God don't say, hey, son, it. Trust me, he will. After God is not a puppy show. Come on, He's going to reveal to you that, listen to me, do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that. You see what I'm saying? For the next leg of the race, as we are in this 24th century, we want some smart whiz. We need people that are more 10 times ahead of us, because we're dealing with some AI intelligence out there, right? But with all that smarts and stuff, also your character have to line up with all of the smarts that you can get. So we want you to go to college and university and stuff like that. But when you come out, don't allow the enemy now to steps in and says, look here, you're bigger and you're smarter and you're this. And we have like in our churches that persons may come from college and university and feel more or less they need to start a church and they're the next pastor on the block, so forth and so on. Pastor work not easy. We can tell you from first hand, it's not easy if you're not determined, and then you will mess up people. Remember, many are called, but few are chosen. So you may feel the call, or you may feel you have the desire to do, and you think you can do it because so and so. And nobody's gonna stop you. You can do whatever you want to do. But you have to remember that, person's life is in your hand. And you have to make sure when I'm here praying and asking God to cover this one, cover this, cover the family, and making sure that they stay in touch. And also making sure that my life is in tune with God 24/7, because you are now becoming the under shepherd over persons. So now, if your attitude is not right, I'm telling you, other people in the church will not. When you go up to preach, they're not going to listen to you.
Oh, they might do it for a while, but
They will do it for a while. They will come. You understand me? A person will not even show up if you're preaching, and your attitude is not right. Your attitude need to be. Listen to me. You tune up your car, man. You have to tune up your attitude. You tune up. Last night I was at work and something giving me trouble, and I have to sit there and tune up till I get it right. I still didn't get it right, but I have to go back to it.
Amen, Pastor Clive. Bishop, you had to say, come on in, Bishop.
Yes, thank you very much. As you asked me that questions, another thing that's actually coming to mind is prayer, right? If you can show up at prayer meeting and fasting service, I mean, I don't think you're ready for leadership. Okay, right? You're not ready for leadership if you cannot show up at prayer meeting and fasting service and Sunday school and praise and worship. Okay, right? You miss out all of that, right? Then you are not ready for worship, right? We're looking for somebody who's really who can build, right? Right? Make sure that you are a builder.
oh, Bishop, sorry.
David,
Bishop,
David, yes.
sorry to break in. I realize I'm breaking in too much this morning, but I have things to do. I have to make the money. I have things to do, and it's not all the time I can come out there, and other persons can. I can't. So, but does that mean that I don't have the call of God? I mean, I've
Right.
got to make time for my family. I've got to make time.
Right.
It
I
sounds
need
like
money,
you
man.
have the call, but not the right attitude.
Yes. So if you can come out when you're going to preach and when it's your time to minister rather, then you must can come out when we call fasting
Mhm.
and when we call prayer meeting. If even not to all of them, we must be able to, I don't care how good you can preach, right? When we're having a work day at church, okay, we expect you to show up, come pass a broom,
Don't even talk about that, Bishop.
right? And so on, pass a broom pick up some paper, pass the rake around the churchyard and so on. We expect you to show up, not for you to come in your 3-piece suit and thing, right? On Sundays and look good, right? And sit up there at the restaurant when it's going to be my time to preach. Right? I was saying that you must be a builder. David could not build the house of the Lord, but David prepared everything that was needed to build the house. We who are going down are preparing, right? And what we are looking for is somebody who can come and build. We have the nail, we have the board, we have the screwdrivers, we have the plan, we have the vision. We give it to you, and we must be able for you to build it in such a way so that the glory of God come down in it. That's what we are looking for. Right? If you build it for yourself, no. We need you to build it so the glory can come up to it. I was just seeing what one bishop and he was talking about his father, right? He take over from his father, the ministry, and they have around 100 people. And his father was building a sanctuary that can hold, I think, over 500-600 people. And they asked him, why are you building this sanctuary for 500-600 people when all you have is 100 people? He said, I am not building it for now. I'm building it for then.
Yes.
For the future. And when his son take over, his son was able to what was it with Bishop Talbert, right? His son was able to fill that place, right? Because his father built it for them. We set the standard. Okay, right? We tell you that baptism in Jesus' name is right. We tell you that if you're going to serve God, you need to live right. We don't need you to come later on after we give you the ministry, like the preacher some weeks ago talk about. It's okay for you to go to party because Jesus' first miracle, it was because he really was partying it down at the wedding that he goes to. No.
Oh my Lord.
Right. No. We need you to build up on. And so we're looking for somebody who can build upon and not tear down. They look for somebody, as soon as you give them the ministry, they take down your picture and put it in one box somewhere and put up theirs. But put up theirs beside yours. So if you can't, we don't see that you have a vision to build, we can help you. And I was listening to I think it was 2 weeks ago there about sometimes the CDC, we're talking about vision and stuff like that. And one thing I wanted to say is that because you have a vision doesn't mean that you're ready to take over.
Yes, sir.
Because a lot of people go, okay, I have vision. I have more vision. Wonderful, nice. I love that. I want people with me who have vision. So the vision that you have now is for you to help the pastor. Sometimes God show you stuff to help him as a pastor. I really think if we do it like this, we can get a better outcome. A pastor, yeah, okay, let's go. Oh my God. What his name? Pharaoh have no vision for how to prepare for 7 years of famine. He had no vision.
Wow.
He didn't know what to do. Joseph had the vision. Joseph said, in these 7 years of plenty, this is what you need to do. This one you do. He said, okay, you are the man. I am the leader, but you are the man with the vision. I need you to go do it, but I am still the leader. So because you have vision, it doesn't mean that, boy, the young men, they're going to have vision and the old people only dream dreams. So, no, because you have vision doesn't mean that you necessarily need to take over. You need to, God give you something in order for you to share it with your leader. And because you share it doesn't mean that, boy, you're better than him. He's the man.
But Bishop, if I have my vision, if I have that vision, and my pastor, my bishop doesn't want to follow my vision, I can go and take my vision and start my church. What sayest thou?
Mhm. No, that is the attitude that is being displayed in today's generation. But
Exactly.
rather than saying, let me tap at it, let me work at it, let me, because sometimes you have to work it until even your pastor kind of see what's happening, but you work it in humility and until you realize, because, and I'll say, and I'll allow Bishop to finish, but there's one young man that have a vision to help the homeless in our community, and he called me and talked to me about it, and we went and connect with an organization. And the reality is that the pastor wasn't on board with it, didn't see it. And we're saying the resources are not coming from the church, but what we are asking for is the blessing of the pastor to give us that go ahead, that you can do it without looking over your shoulder, wondering if you're stepping on toes. And so
Yeah.
the pastor really didn't align with it, and the young men them just start put their little monies together and go on the corner and start cook some food right here in Canada and start to give to people and folks and homeless and that they have identified. And right now the thing has grown to a level where the pastor now align with the vision. They're doing to say, okay, we can raise this fund. I'll give you all the church to raise, to do whatever concert or event you need to do to raise fund, because now he see the blessing and the benefit now that start to happen. So sometimes we need to give a little grace that the leader may not fall with align with it immediately. But then if you have a vision and you're doing it with humility and taking your time to do that, then they see what is going
Okay.
on. And then sometime they will fall in alignment.
Sorry, Dr. Bryan, but I have to cut in quickly again, if you don't mind. So are you saying then it's okay for the pastor not to have that vision, but because I have it, I just go ahead with the vision, even though my pastor is not with it?
No, not necessarily.
I want
Sometimes
to
you
know
knock on
what you're
doors
saying.
until they're open. Sometimes you just have to knock on some doors until they're open, because you have a passion for it and you say to your pastor, and the pastor may not see it. It's not that he's sometimes shooting down the vision. Sometimes he just don't see it. He don't see what is happening. It's just like sometime in a marriage and you're saying to your wife, honey, this is the way to go. And they're saying, boy, baby, I don't know about that, because the risk associated, and they don't just see it. And sometimes you just have to pick at it and you do it in small portions and small portions and small portions. And what they start to do is the 1 and 2 people they start to feed, what they start to do is bring them to church and say, Pastor, this lady's from our feeding program that we start to do. He's like, okay, people coming from the feeding program. Also, something is really happening here. So I am saying that with humility and with prayer, you have to find ways and strategy how to do it. And again, it depends what it is. If it's something internally, in this case, it is something that was being done outside of the 4 walls of the church. You see what I'm
So,
saying?
Dr. Bryan,
No, 1 second, because I just want to clarify. Now, if it is something that is within the 4 wall of the church, then it means that sometimes if the pastor is saying, no, not now, not yet, there are times where you just have to hold it in your belly and you step back and allow it to happen, or when the time right. Sometimes the pastor know more than you know, and he's saying, no, not yet. Let's not touch that. Sometimes you have to circle with it. So then there's a lot of, you have to look at situation. There's a lot of situation by situation in which you have to look at, because he has to also look at risk and everything that will affect the church.
okay, thank you. Yes. I believe you covered it there, because I was thinking, I mean, the pastors many times know a lot that you might not know, and there are factors involved in anything. And as long as the pastor is not outrightly condemning it, but says wait or not now, or
right,
we
because the
have to,
pastor can't run with everything that everybody bringing up.
yes,
You understand? Because his vision will become hazy, because there's so much people speaking in his ears. And so he has to strategically, he has to take his time and strategically look at each input that he get and say, okay, what is the best plan of action at this point? Bishop, am I on the right vein?
And it's not everything that you're going to come with, meaning that it's going to be heard or displayed or put into motion, because there's timing for everything. When I just
and 1 second, Pastor Clive, sometimes it is what you're saying is the right thing, but it's not the right time. Yes. And there are times that the pastor may have tried that before and you don't know and know what was the outcome, and he's saying no. You understand? Right. Yes.
So when I just came to Canada, I just came fresh I have a lot of zeal, man. I have a lot of zeal and jumping all over the place. I love dancing. Man, everybody love Brother Clive because he's vibrant. And you know, back in Jamaica, we used to have youth conference and youth week in January and so forth and so on, right? And I say to my pastor, I says, man, we need to have a youth week because I realize from a come we don't have nothing for the youth and I tell him this is 2008, 2009, and I observe, and it was a good idea. And he says, I don't think it's gonna work. And he said, go and fast and pray about it. For 3 years, I fasted and prayed. 3 years. You know what I'm saying to you? I didn't lose focus on the fact that I wanted to do a youth conference.
Keep you in prayer.
But then for 3 years, and I remember in 2003, I came and I says, Pastor, I've been still fasting and I've been praying. And he said to me, fast one more year. And I fasted. I got a few of us as young men, young people, and fast for 1 year straight and have the conference the following year, February of 2004. And believe you me, at the time, when I says, at the time, no, it was 2003, the first one we had. At the time, I want to tell you something that 17% got the Holy Ghost in that. We didn't bring no guest speaker. All the guest speaker was us. 'Cause we were charged up because in essence, what I'm saying is that as much as he said to me, oh, it wasn't going to work. And all I needed to do, outside of the prayer and the fasting was change a month because he says, you said to me January, but January month is always cold. Back then it was rigidly cold. He said, move it to February and have it because February more of a calmer month where a person will come out, you will get a more better result in February. And we did it in February, and I'm telling you the success. So it's not necessarily that your idea going to be shut down. And then God taught me something in that period of time from 98, 99, like literally for 3 years, that you have to learn to exercise your patience and don't be upset. Don't get angry, because if men get mad and upset, say, boy, at 3 years, no, me they are pray for you over one little something and this can happen and blah, blah, blah. And I'm watching young people. So you know what I did? I get at the young people, some of them, and we go down to church on a Friday night and we have a little discussion here and there. And you know what I mean? Just trying to build on them and pull on them. So then outside of that, then Pastor realized that, wait, and not everybody going to see it, because you have another group say, why Clive try to split the church? You must get young people on him side. But it's not. It wasn't about that. It was not about that. It was about just seeing that the young men them need guidance. Because to be honest with you, when I came from Jamaica at 23 years old, person thought I was 30 already, or in my 30s, well mature. You know what I mean? But when I came here, I'm like, some of persons who are older than me, you know what I mean? Like they were not mature. And I was looking more like I wanted to help persons to come up for the love for God. That was the main thing, to want them to love on God, not just come to church or love music. You know what I mean? Because when music fade, King David have a moment that he would play it for an evil spirit. But trust me, when you're really going into some comeback and some battles, music, you can just play your music and demon just run just like that. You're gonna need to have a relationship, and that's all I was trying to do, is to help them to build a relationship. Some of it, persons that have that desire, what it does, it help them to propel them further in their Christian walk. And trust me, it in that essence, what I'm saying is sometimes you're gonna hear to wait. And sometimes you just have to wait. And sometimes you just have to you're mute, doc, you're mute. Sometimes you just have to wait out your time and don't get upset. Again, humility, as Bishop says, just be humble. God sometimes put you into some situation where He's just trying you, to purging you, just to build you up, so that you can be the next leader, the next
Yes.
person. Because if God
Don't
can't trust it,
yeah. And don't get discouraged. Don't get discouraged in the wait. I was saying, Pastor Clive, don't get
that's
discouraged
right.
in the wait.
That's right.
While you're waiting, don't be
Don't.
discouraged.
That's
Anyway,
right.
Bishop, I'll take your
Yes, sir.
input on this. Powerful, sir. And
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. It's not everybody with a vision know how to cast a vision.
woo, all
And
right now,
so
Bishop.
the way how you cast a vision is important. Right? And you will leave discouraged, not because the bishop didn't want to do it or the pastor want, you didn't cast it properly. You didn't dot all the I's and cross all the T's. I see the face of Elder Muir.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Um,
Executing the vision.
right. So you have to cast it, and then the execution is the next.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And sometimes the vision that you have, okay, the part you only have it. This is what we need to do. But you did not come with all the plan and the details. How are we going to get there? You want to come and say the outcome. This is what we need to do. That's it,
Mm-hmm.
right? But the pastor now and the leader have to look at all sides. Okay, what you're trying to do? Does the church insurance cover this? What you're trying to do? Can person be damaged or hurt by this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How are we going to get the people on board, the funds to do it? And so pastor will look at every single angle, right? And sometimes they will tell you, no, this not going to work right now, because what you're trying to do sometimes is not right now in the present vision of the church and where we are right now. And sometimes we don't have the tools and the people at that particular time to carry out that vision, and the resources are not there for you, right? So what Pastor Clive Pastor did at the time was tend to go pray about, right? And that's fine, keep that vision in your belly, keep on praying about it, keep on, and one of these days, the pastor will see it, right? But you got to know how to cast it. And if you can't cast it, right, it will not die. Because if it's your vision and you don't thought it out properly, why are you bringing it to me?
Mm.
Right? Why should I be thinking for you? Okay, it means that you need to go back to the gospel or share it with somebody else, because sometimes you can have a vision, but if we put it in your hands, you kill it.
So the vision is not plain then, Bishop. Right? The vision making plain is not plain.
Write it down. Write it down, make it plain, right? So that everybody can
See it.
understand and sees it, right? And see this is what is going to be the outcome, how the church is going to benefit through this, how this going to enhance the kingdom of God, how this going to bring in souls, how this going to help the community, right? Is it going to cause more problems? Is it going to cause us to be sued? Is this going to cause the church to split up, all different kind of stuff, right? And so the class is important, and then after a while, the implementation of this vision is so important. If not implement correctly, right? And Pastor Clive can tell us about with his building thing, right? If it's not done right, it will
From the
collapse.
start. Yeah, from the start.
Right, the foundation
Yeah.
got to be right. God bless you.
Bishop, I before you go, how do you then cultivate resilience and perseverance in the face of challenges? How do you still maintain it with a no? How do you remain in church with a no? How do you still continue to serve with a no? Because I think a lot of persons are stuck with that. The minute they hear no, no seems to be foreign, or no seems to be, so it wasn't what I expect when I presented the vision. And so then how do you cultivate resilience? You're still strong, you're unbroken, and to persevere in that face of the challenges that you may have, or the challenges that you may face, because we want to speak to persons who are not necessarily striving for pastors, but who want to work in ministry. But you're hearing no, because I have a vision that I want to implement, and I'm hearing no. And how do then I remain resilient? How do I cultivate that drive to stand and to preserve in the midst of these different challenges?
Um, very good question. Very good question, right? And so, if you plan to be a leader, get yourself ready to hear no.
Mm.
If you can't deal with no, you're not ready for ministry. Right? You are
Wow.
not. People are going to give you a lot of no's, even when it is God. You ask Moses.
Ah.
But Bishop, something must be wrong with the pastor if everybody else sees my vision as being one that is for now and the time, and but my pastor is saying no. Something has to be wrong.
Mhm.
Well,
And sometimes what God is doing when He's allow you to say no, because the Lord is preparing you to hear no, the Lord is preparing you for ministry. God is checking your attitude.
Mhm.
If you hear no, and then you are going to go in and slander the pastor behind his back and slander
Uh-huh.
everyone and so on, right? Because he tells you no. And it's okay to feel bad, because no is going to cause some emotional reaction. Okay, and that's fine. That's fine. But it's the attitude
Right.
after the no that is important. So sometimes God is building you to see how you are going to deal with basically hearing no, right? So how do you live with a no in a ministry when they tell you no, right? I think Pastor Clive answered that, right? You just keep on praying, pray for your pastor,
Mhm.
ask him, ask God to help him to see the vision, to
Yeah.
see what you are planning, to see what you are asking him to do. And sometimes you've got to, as they say in Jamaica, wheel and come again.
Yes.
Right? As I said, there's more than one way to what?
Skin a cat.
To all right, you hear
Mhm.
me here.
Dr. Bryan, real quick. I think it is in Jeremiah. I think it is in Jeremiah. Let me just double check. Jeremiah 7:18. It says in the King James, it says, the children gather wood and the
Mhm.
fathers kindle the fire. And in our generation, nobody wants to be patient. When you're gathering wood, it has to be for those that come from out of a Caribbean. And even in Canada, if you really want to catch what you call it,
A fire. If you want to build a fire,
build a
press
fire,
it.
go camping.
Mhm.
It's not any wood you want to get. Rotten wood will not do the trick. You have to get the wood that is a certain density.
Mhm.
And as a wood finder person who's finding the wood, who's going to look, and that wood represent people. So if you just want to just catch fire, and don't want to get a wood, you're gonna have a problem. You have to go find people. You need to be an evangelist.
Yeah,
You need
and
to be,
that is where I said earlier, Pastor Clive, that there are
yeah,
some persons who not necessarily pastors, but are
yeah,
evangelists and operating in pastoral position, and that's where we have issues
yeah.
because you have missed what your role is. You're effective enough. You'll be most effective being an evangelist because you don't have that, and that's why you have pastors who just can't sit in their church, and Sunday after Sunday they'll be missing pastor. And somebody else passing because at heart you're not really a pastor. You're an evangelist. You love to travel and preach and teach and bring people in. You're an evangelist.
And so it brings me to my next point, Bishop, of how do we select then persons, putting people in the right position, and
Oh,
leaders and pastors being honest with them to say, brethren, I know you have been doing the work, you have grown, and yes, you're serving as an elder, but I don't see you pastoring, because I believe that you'll be most effective if you're out there pulling people in, traveling and evangelizing and preaching the gospel far and wide, bringing people into church, and yes, will serve maybe as the assistant pastor, so that responsibility heavily isn't placed on you, and you have the flexibility to go. But then we have seen also, Bishop, that a lot of churches are destroyed because the pastor is effective, and because he preach and teach and people love him. He has the pulling power to pull people. And so he start a church and the church is packed. But within him, his passion is still to go out there and go out there. So then he continuously lead the flock. And I'm telling you, based on experience, and the church has deplete. I've spoken to somebody who come from a church that the pastor is a very lovely man. I mean, anointed and gifted to lead and to build. And the person said to us, I would never leave my pastor if my pastor would have been at church most Sundays. She said, I love that man. My problem is, I don't feel like I have a pastor, because my pastor is always gone. So much Sundays, he's gone. Sometimes you find him one Sunday for the month, or you're lucky you may get him twice, but he's mostly gone. And so when they show up at Bible study and pastor isn't there, and they show up at prayer and pastor isn't there, Sunday morning come, he's not there, and then later down pastor show up on a Sunday, you're a visitor. What they want is a pastor who is available. I am not saying that the pastor will not have assignment and engagement outside the church, but you cannot be flowing in a realm of ministers and evangelists who don't have that responsibility as the leader. So there are times that we need to make sure we balance it. And so it's important that we put the right persons are in the right position, and not because you have an influence to pull mean that you need to pastor. You can have that influence and pull them to your church, introduce them to your pastor, and pastor them. I preach and bring them, come and pastor them, because I know what my role and function is. So it's important to strike that balance. Understand, Bishop? What say you, sir?
Yes, sir. I'm very, very important. I just want to share an experience I have with you. I remember when they were having some issues at a particular church back in Jamaica. I was an evangelist then, and the pastor had to leave and go to America for around 2 or 3 weeks. The bishop called me and the young man and said, "Okay, we want you to go there and stand in the gap until the pastor come back." Right? We had no idea that they were having issues at the church. So I was very surprised that the first Sunday we go drive from Kingston to a place they call White Horses in St.
St.
Thomas.
Thomas, yes.
Yes. And we have in church. I'm like, where are the people? Was about 5 or 6 people show up at church. Okay, no problem. We do what we got to do. We go back home. The next Sunday, the whole church full. Everybody shows up, preach the word and everything. And then when soon as church over, notice nobody going home. Then somebody get one and say, "We need a meeting with you." I'm like,
Wow.
I'm the same evangelist here. I'm just here to stand the gap. They said, "We don't want this pastor." Right? And they begin to start all kinds of stuff. And I stopped them in the track. They said, "Okay, we want you." Right? We want you to stay, you to pass the church, and so on. And I said, "Look, I am only here to help out." The bishop said me, "If you have an issue, right, you go and you call the bishop and you talk
Yes.
to the bishop about your issues." Right? I never say a nor nay. Right? Not long and short and story. Long short and short of the story is that the pastor did come back after a while. The pastor did call me and said, "I hear what everything goes down, and I hear what you say, and I really respect you for that." What am I saying? For you who are backbench pastors, everything you say, somebody's there gonna carry back the news to the pastor.
Mm-hmm.
And you
Mm-hmm.
think the pastor don't know, right?
Yes.
And so for that pastor to trust you again, oh, it's gonna be very, very difficult. Right? So they said, if you not good to say,
don't say bad, sir.
don't
Don't say
say
anything.
nothing. Even when
Mm-hmm.
everybody in the group is talking about the pastor, you close your mouth or you defend the pastor. Right? If you
Mm-hmm.
notice, David, even how bad Saul was, still call him the Lord's anointed.
Yes. Yes.
He
And
said, oh,
refuse to touch him to
right.
Bishop.
And they said, "Oh, can you talk? You want to kill the Lord and no, he's God's and
Wow,
no, but no, but
wow,
him
wow.
throw javelin at me. He almost get in the cave to kill me. He's talking bad about me, right? He tried to set up his daughter with me, right, to bring me down. I mean, and you still saying that he's God's anointed. That's
Yeah.
why you are going to be the next king of Israel because of the heart. How you treat your pastor when he's not living right.
Mm. Whew.
Huh.
How you treat your pastor and talk about your pastor when you hear things about him.
My God.
Bishop,
It's going to determine your own ministry and how you are going to be impactful in the next life. So when you hear stuff about your pastor and you see your pastor do stuff, right? Be careful what you say, even when you are right.
What is a bishop?
um
Even when
um
you're
um,
right,
um
you
you ask
immediately right.
you ask Moses' sister
Mm-hmm.
what they do to the when they look at Moses and say, "Boy, you shouldn't marry this woman."
Yes.
Look what God
Yes.
did to them. Right?
Yes.
So you better be very careful, even if they mess up and they commit adultery or fornication. You better be careful what you say,
my God.
Well,
right?
Yeah.
Because
Bishop,
they are still God's
Yeah.
anointed.
Allow him
God
to
bless
finish
you,
a
friend.
thought. Yes. Yes. So powerful, Miriam. Very, very powerful. Bishop said something very powerful there, Elder Muir. Even when you know it's true, even when you
Yes,
know it's
yes,
fact, it's just the way
yes.
how that you allow you continue to serve and not touch a Lord's anointed. You continue to serve and not tear down the pastor and bring him down.
that's
You're
right.
aware of what's happening. I've served with pastors that I know is killing me, and I kept it for years.
And something too,
It's
Dr.
only when
Bryan.
I'm leaving I said I know what you said about me. I know doors that you have closed. I know pastors you have called, and you said ABC, and I heard it, and I said I didn't say anything to you because I respect you too much
Yes.
to come, and I respect you too much not to resent you and not to disrespect you. But I heard all that you did, and it came back to me.
And
But
that's
I
the thing,
respect
Dr.
you too
Bryan.
much.
That's the
Yes.
thing, because many times persons don't really know that the pastors hear these things back.
Mm-hmm.
They
Mm-hmm.
talk it in confidence in the silence of a group or a room, and pastors hear it back and
Mm-hmm.
they don't know, but yet they're smiling with the pastor. I give you an example. I know of a certain gentleman. He was in church, and when he's in church, he's like, God is in this place. And then you'll hear him talking, Pastor, this, Bishop, that, and you wonder, is this the same man? Is this the same man? But I want to tell you, when he left this earth, it was not in honor at all. It was not in honor when he left this earth.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying also, I'm joining in just to say that, yes, you might have the influence, bring the people in, but don't try to pastor the persons that you bring in. Allow pastoring to the pastor. Send the persons. Identify the pastor. It doesn't matter how you may view or what you might be thinking. You have to follow the Bible. And if you really follow the Bible and the instructions in the Bible, then you'll understand that you should not go out of your place at all. Pastors hear. Pastors are pastors. They hear.
Mm-hmm.
Whether in a dream, in a trance, or someone just comes and tells them,
Right.
they hear, and many times persons just don't know that.
I want to highlight something in the chat. Chosen Claudette. Claudette says, I had a passion for people and started visiting the sick in nursing homes and hospitals. My pastor called me and said, you have started an outreach ministry and now you are the director of outreach. She said, I was in shock. So in other words, she had that vision to do it. It wasn't being done. And she started, and this is one of the examples I'm talking about. She just started to do something externally outside of the church that really doesn't affect the business of the church, immediate business of the church in the building. So it doesn't feel like you're stepping on toes. She has that passion. Just visit people in the hospital, pray with them, see about them. And the pastor got wind of what she was doing and said, okay, I'm putting you in as the director of outreach. And I'm sure after a while gathered some people to work with her. And so that's what we're talking talking about having that vision and that fire, and then you just start to do the work, and this is an external work, doesn't affect them, but he recognized the passion she have and said, okay, I'm blessing you now to go forward with that vision. So what he have just did was to expand her ministry, because now she's operating with the blessing of the leader. And so we're saying on today's podcast, it is very important that as you are moving in ministry, with in whatever capacity, from outreach director to youth president to whatever capacity you may serve, the head of the prayer committee, whatever capacity you serve in ministry, we're saying that it's very important that you develop a great attitude, value, and mindset. Bishop says, stay in your position, be you. When we call you, we expect you. Stay within that vein, stay within that realm, and work within your position. Pastor Clive point out to us some of the things that pastors are looking for and are expecting, not somebody to take it over, yeah, and to push the pastor aside. And let me say, listen, me, even though they're talking about the pastors and stuff, you continue to serve, you do what you are doing, because the pastor will hear it back. All right. So you continue to serve, because at the end of the day, it's all about the ministry mindset and the essential attitude and value for effective leadership. So while we're talking about bishops and pastors transitioning and giving up the reign, we're also talking about persons who should be showing that they are ready, they're equipped to serve in whatever capacity. I tell people all the time, I don't have to be the pastor. I can work with anybody. I can work with anyone. I don't have to be the leader. In fact, I don't want to be the pastor. There are so much persons that ask me, Pastor Clive, when are you going to start pastoring your own church? Bishop, when are you going to start pastoring? And I tell them, I do not want to be a pastor. I am good. I don't even want an elder position because of my views of it. I am good in where I'm at to serve. I've been preaching and teaching and doing the work long before I have a ministerial office, and I'm not enticed by titles and position, but it's the ability to continue to serve, serving. And Bishop, and before we wrap, that's one of the mistakes that we make in a Bishop, is that an elder Muir, as soon as we get to assignment, we believe we are ready. As soon as 3 people start to call us, we believe we're ready, and we let people push us into things that God don't call us for. And the same people that tell you, Bishop, leave your church and start pastoring, when you start, you don't see them.
True.
They're not the ones coming. They're the first one to run and say
it again.
Yeah, the same ones who tell you go and pastor church. You don't see them, Pastor Clive. And trust and believe, them same one are the first one who go and talk, Pastor Clive, run down pastor church now. And they're the ones who are telling you, go and pastor church, a time to pastor church. Bishop, I mean, we're going to the close, but isn't it true? They're the same ones, and trust and believe you're not going to see them. And so it is very, very important that you wait on the call of God. Serve with the leader. Serve where you are. If the Lord establish you, you will flourish where he established you.
Yes, sir.
And if the time come to an end for you to move on, the Lord will tell you when the time done, and you move. And I always said, I rather move when we good and it nice. I'm not going to stay there, Bishop, until the thing become bad and fester and all kind of different animosities start. And you must know when is that time, and you continue to serve. Final thoughts around the table. Elder Muir, I'll start with you. I'll come to Pastor Clive and close with Bishop as we move to the close. Elder Muir, final thoughts.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bryan. I'm here sitting down and I'm thinking that the root of it all then is understanding your divine call. When a person doesn't understand their divine call, it causes them to act out of character. And it's important that we do. And in understanding your call, you have to know or get that concept of what is God's sovereignty. How does it determine how I act, how I behave? And am I in the right if I don't exemplify humility? And I believe it is a problem in society in general, not only in church, in that if you're humble, persons look at you as being weak. And so they will talk all manner of things, they will do all manner of things, because in their mind, humility is being weak. And because you don't make up a lot of noise too, I realize that persons view you in a certain light, but it's not the noise of the market. Having that mindset, that ministry, kingdom mindset, is not the noise of the market that really matters, but it's applying the word of God to your life
Right.
daily. It's applying. Notice I did not say it's knowing,
Yes.
it's applying the word of God. Of course, you have to know it to apply it, but you can know it and don't apply it. And that's why James would have said, be not only hearers of the word, but
But do
doers.
us also.
We have to have that mindset to be doers of the word. My idea, if it's not accepted by Pastor Clive, I'm not going to say, okay, I'm not going to drop hands, right? I'm going to support him, not 5%, but 100%. And
Yes.
if it fails, I'm not going to say, see, I told you, right? So it is a mindset that you have to know that you are serving. And please, and I'm going to reiterate, please, 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 children of God, don't go try to pastor persons when you're not the pastor. Don't,
Mhm.
because the thing is, that anointing, you might say things that you're not even supposed to say, believing you're doing the right when it
Mhm.
causes more damage than good. It
And
might
good.
sound right, sound like a good advice, comes from the right place, but because you're operating outside of what God has called you for, you cause more problems than
Good.
anything else. And the Bible says God requires truth from the inward
Inward.
parts. God
Amen.
bless God.
Bless you, sir. Pastor Clive, with your conclusion, and we go to Bishop to go to the close.
Bishop said something earlier, and I wanted to chime in when he says that he went somewhere and the people then wanted him to come back. Oftentimes, as when I was a young preacher, I would have gone to so many different places to preach. And trust me, if you don't be careful, people will make you, they will force pride into you. You have to be careful of people saying things in your spirit, and you feel like, as
Preach.
you reach and you can become the next. Wait on God's timing. Don't allow people to force ripe you. Don't I see them force ripen avocado pear or Jamaican pear, putting it in hot oil and forcing it to be ripen. But I know that you can't force right ackee. It will poison you. You see, so don't be forced into something. And I've gone to a lot of places where a person would have said, "Man, you're gifted and you're anointed and you're this, you're that." And even when we were starting higher ground, I told the brethren where I was at the time. I said, "I don't want person to come with me like that. I don't want. I'm leaving, and I make sure leave. You know, I said I want them to. I don't want no one to come. They stay with their pastor, hold up their pastor hand, so forth and so on. But you have a few of the same set of people that says, "Boy, we don't care what you say. No, I'm coming, and this and that and whatever." And person will tell you them or come with you. Don't listen. You make sure that your directions are coming from God, and it is God that is leading you. And don't take direction from man. Trust me, man will fail you. The harm of flesh. Back to
Yes.
the scripture that I said, the Bible says that the children gather the wood and the fathers kindle the fire. One day you will kindle fire. But your job right now, your responsibility is to win souls, is to help the gathering of souls, and to say, okay, how can I bungle these up? How can I help with everything? And watch the fathers kindle the fire. He may not be the sharpest in the drawer or the brightest among you, but at the same time, that's the man that God have in place in that ministry. God bless you. Thank you so
Thank you. Thank you, Pastor Clive. Bishop, we come to you.
Okay, thank you very much. And Pastor Clive, they know you can't force open Aki, but if you pick the green Aki and throw it at the tree root, they open fast. Right? And if you dig a hole and put these berry in it, it ripe fast. Anyway, my final point is going to be very, very brief.
You still have
Is,
to stay somewhere.
yes, is that um, is that sometimes you have a vision and share it with the pastor, and he gives somebody else to do it, to run with it, and don't get jealous. right? The only fault that he have make, if he make this fault, is not to give you credit. Because sometimes God will give you a vision, but it is not your job to carry it out. It's your job to write it, make it plain. So this is what I think the Lord wants to do at this time, and you leave it there. Right. So God bless you, sir. Thank you for having me today. God bless you, Jesus.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bishop. And that is so powerful. Sometimes what you said, sometimes you have the vision, but you are not the person to execute it. You are not the person to carry it out. And so it is important. Then you give that back to the leader, allow him to find somebody to execute that vision. But there are times, and I don't want to start anything because I'm leaving it. There are times when the vision is good, but the leader don't want your name on it. Your vision, good vision, don't want a name on it. I've been at that place where I've written vision, I've written detailed plan, like business plan, and give to leaders, and they said to me, no, it's not, if it's not good for this house. And I leave it alone, pray, and a couple of years pass. I give that vision to somebody that have the pastor ears and said, give the pastor this plan that you have for this particular thing. And in 2 days, the pastor said, this is the best thing ever. This we can move. So I realized that it's not the vision, but it's who wrote the vision. So another thing to put in mind. Thank you so much, everybody. Don't want to start anything else. We're looking to go to the close. Let me thank my worthy co-host, Bishop Upton Morris, Pastor Clive, Elder Muir, and of course to our listeners that join us near and far, week after week. Thank you so much for making it the Ironman Empowerment Podcast. And we want to, of course, thank you for doing it. I want to highlight Dr. Cheryl McClement as we were talking about doing what God has called you to do and the vision and do it externally. And the reason why I want to highlight her is because she had a vision for outreach to feed people worldwide. And what she have done is maybe, I'm not sure, maybe that didn't align with the church's immediate plan. And what she have done is to step out. And she's a lecturer in the university of get her students to support her and to put their money together, and members of churches all over the place to send to her. And she has started a charity organization called Beyond the Borders Mission that she have served thousands of people. She has moved from packing just barrels to packing crates and containers, and she have church members and people from everywhere who will come to warehouses, shipping companies she have now connected with, and her mission has expanded where donations have coming in by the drones. I remember at one point when I worked along with her and the church in which she served to do medical supplies in Antigua, making it the largest donation the country has ever received, over $300,000 US worth of medical supplies. And she have now done food in Africa and Haiti, in Jamaica, all over the place. Year to year, she does Beyond the Borders mission in Jamaica. Many churches have served thousands of people, have been blessed, from clothes to shoes to food to you name it, to church resources. She have given money for church to build the assemblies from her organization. And so I just want to highlight, and this isn't affecting the church, her pastor and team and members of the church support what she's doing, and she's taking it beyond the borders, and doesn't affect the church, and she's still serving her capacity, even though of what's happening, still serving her little role as and doesn't mean that she now has to become the director of outreach because she have an outreach ministry. And so I want to highlight that because I want to use an example as what we talk about, that not because you're doing this, it doesn't mean automatically bishop or pastor have to put you in that position. Not because you're a strategic manager of your job, it doesn't mean he has to bring you on the board as a strategist. Just saying. So we must have that ability and humility, as Bishop talked at the top, to serve where you're planted and work until it's the Lord's timing. As we conclude our exploration of the ministry mindset, we are reminded that effective ministry or effective leadership in ministry requires more than just skills and knowledge. It demands a deep transformation of the heart. By embracing essential attitudes and values such as humility, empathy, integrity, resilience, and spiritual growth, we can cultivate a mindset that honors God and empower others. Remember, ministry leadership is not about personal achievement or success. It's about serving others, glorifying God, and advancing His kingdom. As we strive to embody the ministry mindset, we'll become more effective instruments of God's grace, hope, and redemption. We want to thank you all for tuning in and for being with us here on the Ironman Empowerment Podcast. On behalf of the entire production crew here at HGG Radio, we want to ask you to like our channel, share, subscribe to our channel. Don't keep it to yourself. We want you to share it with others and be a blessing to others also. We want to thank you one more time for being with us. And we said until next time, we will continue to explore these topics that affect the church and, of course, to help the human to really to be in alignment with God's will and purpose for your life. Thank you for making it the Ironman Empowerment Podcast. Until next time, we are not just talk, but we're informative. God bless you and see you soon.
G Radio.
When I wake up in the morning and I take my first breath in, what a mighty God we serve. And then I look up to
Join us for the Ironman Empowerment Podcast, where we discuss matters close to the heart. This and every Saturday at 8 a.m. until 9:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on HGG Radio. I am your host, Dr. Lincoln Bryan, alongside your co-host, Pastor Clive Atkinson, Bishop Hopeton Morris, and Elder Edmund Muir.
What came out so far is
The Ironman Empowerment Podcast. We're not just talk, we're informative.